Well, Eric stole my question but I'll shift gears here. Last year, obviously, some big improvements in lots of areas with the team. Taking a step back and looking at the team heading into 2019, what are the areas that are going to take this team to the next level?
Yeah. Well, overall, we hit the restart button. So, and you look at all the critical, statistical data that says where can we make a jump? Okay, where's the meat that we left on the bone? Third down has to continue to get better, without question. Explosive plays on both sides of the ball. On one side, it has to be increased. On the other side, it has to be reduced. We've got to force more turnovers. We definitely gave up the ball a few more times that we wanted to. Ball security really improved as the year went on. Credit to those running backs. They didn't put on the ground after that. From a special team standpoint, and I'm going to jump around, I understand that, but our coverage teams and ball placement has to get significantly better. And fundamentals and technique has to be at the forefront of everything we do in spring ball, always with toughness and culture. But the ball placement, something that really hurt us both on kickoff and on our punt team. So there's going to be an extraordinary amount of time spent on that as well. Being able to go a little faster on offense is something that we're going to focus on. We want to stop the run better, and we want to run the ball better. We're not going to be satisfied until that thing says 1-1 on both sides of the fence, as it relates to the conference. And when we look at statistical data, we break it down as an entire season. We break it down as it relates to conference play, okay? Because at the end of the day, the conference play is the most important stuff. And we like to see where we stack up with the rest of the conference in all those games. So those are a couple things that stand out. We certainly want to be more efficient throwing the football. We had a significant amount of drops that you don't point a finger at anybody, whether it be a tight end, receiver, running back, quarterback. You coach it better, you teach it better. You get in there, you work at it harder, you get on the jugs machine and you fix it. And as that relates to anything that we're talking about, I think the most important thing is I get the chance to come up here and talk, but that it always goes back to it's about the players, and as players and as coaches, the things that we highlight are things and areas of improvement, things to work on, not picking points. You know what I mean? And we make that a real strong and clear statement so our guys understand that through and through.
Rob, on the left.
You touched on it there at the end, but just the receiver group with a new coach, new personnel. What do you want to see from that group in spring?
It starts with discipline and alignment, discipline and assignment, route running, making sure that, a hitch is a hitch. And if it's at 5 yards, if it's at 4 yards, it's precise. If it's a route that's relates more to steps as it does to distance or a landmark, that we're doing precisely that. That landmarks on the field means something. If hash +2 means hash +2. Bend versus cover 2 means bend it versus cover 2. Drop out versus soft coverage means do that. So the discipline of that, as simple as the technical stuff as arm balance when you're running a route, how a route should look the same. You should never be able to tell whether a guy's running a go route or a hitch route. Our releases and escapes, we can't allow teams to play us in man coverage and take away our RPOs and be able to take away some of the more vertical stuff and really disrupt the timing of the passing game. So I think that's important. I think Coach Bo and a couple of guys that we've added on staff, Jonathan Krause has done a great job as a graduate assistant, but Coach Bo certainly has made a strong statement in the short time he's been here. And we've also hired an analyst who joins us from Southern Cal as well, Prentice Gill, who is outstanding football mind that helps a bunch. So, certainly we're excited about the direction of that room and the things that we can do. And not to mention there's some really great talent coming in here. Some of it's here already, some of it's coming in 2 weeks, and then the rest coming in the summer.
When you guys started this process for hiring the defensive coordinator, when did Andy get on your radar for this? Was it somebody that you had locked in on from the start, or was it somebody who came in and blew you guys away?
Well, we had interviewed a lot of guys who went at every level. Our research, our process is real thorough. There's no hey, I know this guy, or I know that guy, I work with him, or someone told me he was good. We don't hire friends and acquaintances. We hire people that are the best for the program. And it starts with a lot of things now, okay? And before I get to that part, I want to say it starts with you got to be a great person. first and foremost. You got to be a great person. You got to be all about the players. You got to do things the right way on and off the field. Because if you can't do that, you can't be part of this program, period. Okay. Second of all, we're looking for a guy that had a tremendous amount of knowledge tying in the back end to the front seven. Okay. It's all about being able to see how all the pieces fit and that you're not leaving your nose open on one side because you're overplaying another side. And that to me is very important, being an offensive coach. Okay. And when you're teaching this stuff, you've got to be a clear and concise teacher that can connect, and you have to have a presence. Doesn't matter how much a guy knows. We've seen a lot of guys come through here at all levels. Could talk, talk so make your head spin around like in some of those movies, and that has nothing to do with anything. Can a guy tie it all together? Does he have answers to the things that we face in this conference, right? The RPO game, the quarterback runs, tempo offense. The teams that get 21 personnel, like lining up in a YY wing set, knocking out that C gap and taking advantage of a 4-eye, knock them in the next week. Or base blocking that and slipping that fullback to block your boundary corner, right? Those are the things that we look for, and that's something we take a deep dive into. These are the schematical things we want to address. These are the questions that we're going to have. Talk to me about how you address it, how you scheme it, the specs for the players that you look for, how you plan it during the week, assignment-wise, how you do it with each and every single coach. It's a pretty extensive interview now. It goes on and on and on. And then we watch film together, and we're very critical as we're watching, particular candidates' film and have us go through everything. Teach me as if I'm a freshman. Talk to me about the outside linebacker who's taking on power O. Why is he boxing this instead of spilling? They're in cover 4. Wow, so we'll put them through a series of questions to see if what they're talking to us about matches their film. You know what I mean? And then we'll also pull out our film and go through it and see where, and it's not a deal breaker, but see if there's any overlap as to the positive stuff that we like to keep. Or there's anything in there that pops up where I have a remedy for this, or I don't understand why this is going on, So we'll also get into recruiting, of course. The guy has to be a strong recruiter. I think the day and age of having coaches that just coach and other guys that just recruit, I think that's out the window. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that your most important recruits are the ones in the building. So your ability to connect and have relationships with your players that command respect, that demand accountability, that are demanding without ever being demeaning, those things are at the forefront of everything. There's no head faking in this stuff. There's not. So when I say that this process, and we had the entire organization involved, we were filling up those seats as guys came through. We were very particular and meticulous throughout the entire process. And what Andy did to knock it out the park is that his presence as a teacher, his ability to articulate, the defense, the answers that go with it from the front to the back will really stick out. Guys have to have rules. That's important to me. If it's one thing that was always driven into my head as a football player at the University of Miami, as a coach at Alabama, was the what, the how, and the why. What are we doing? How are we doing it? And why are we doing it that way? And every single person in the organization has to know those things. Because if he's just doing something, he doesn't know how to do it, the hat's on the wrong side, he's taking the wrong angle, and he doesn't know why we're doing it because there's a safety running an alley outside of him and he's got support out there so he could, spill the guy to the safety, then it doesn't work out. So sorry about the rant, but I think you know where I'm coming from here. It's a very complete and thorough interview. Andy is, I'm looking forward to meeting his family. Like, his family is dying to get over here to Eugene. I think that's important. Coach Bo's wife is from Oregon. She has family down in Roseburg, so they were out there yesterday. It was great to meet her and meet one of their baby boys, Breeze. He was hanging out with us the other day. But I think all those things are critical in this whole thing. And then Andy's familiarity with the West Coast and being a California guy, having played several teams in the Pac-12 as well, crossover professional development situations that go with that. He's just been around. He's been around. He's seen it, and the culture at Boise State is impressive. So he did a great job.
Front left, Matt. We got time for two more, Matt and Austin.
On the offensive side of the ball, how much does you talk about the drops and how much they were? If you just maybe caught like a quarter of those, how much of the narrative you think of this offense would have changed if you can just execute that?
Well, we're gonna tab it up for you, and because you do, but you don't want to remember when you're in high school and a guy like dives for a ball and it hits his fingertip and the coach says, you touched the ball, you should have caught it. And you're like, all right, really? Well, we don't count those as particularly as drops. We of course accentuate and try to really encourage effort. But what we're going to do with as a teaching moment is count up the number of drops and the yards that goes with it and what that means. Not only in terms of yardage and production, but what that means in terms of third down and keeping the chains moving, right, and keeping drives alive. So, but it's pretty significant, and it's not a secret. It's an issue, but it's not an issue from a determination, work ethic standpoint, or want to standpoint. We've got to technically teach our guys how to be efficient and precise in catching the football, putting it away, and making something happen after they catch it. So I think Coach Bo is going to do a great job with that. I'm excited to see Coach Wilson, and everything that he's going to be doing with our linebackers in terms of technique, in terms of fundamentals, in terms of teaching eye discipline, how it relates to the keys that they have to be focused on, right? In a league full of RPOs, in a league full of open sets that demand so much of those inside linebackers, teaching at that position is critical. And at the same time, the other part, I can't mention enough is Keith Hayward. I mean, his influence and his impact on this program has been tremendous. I don't want to let that get lost at all. In this conference today, this guy he is such a valued member, an important member of the program, and he's very involved and will be more so involved in some of the heavy decisions that we make as a program. And I look forward to his continued development as well, because he's done some great things and he's on his way to some more.
Mario, to go back to what you were saying at the very beginning about change of defensive coordinator being for the betterment of the program, how does this make you better? Is it schematic? Is it the chemistry of your staff? Where do you see that improvement happening?
Well, you know what? Whenever you make a change, you like to see betterment in every single phase possible. So I think every single change is geared towards that. And, we feel real strong about the person that's going to be at the defensive coordinator position. His use of personnel, his ability to develop other staff members. We see this thing as a big time hire and a plus for everyone.
Thank you, Coach.
You good? You want to sneak one more in there? Go ahead, man. Get it in. Because there's.
Can you elaborate on him a little bit?
Mention one more time. Oh, Prentice Gill. Yes. He'll be serving as an offensive analyst. What I wanted to do was try to get all the analyst hires and the GA hires together because they're not complete yet. I hate to chop it up where you're getting one GA one day, another GA another day, and whatnot. But Prentice is a Southern Cal guy who, and meeting him throughout some of the process of some of these interviews, which we interviewed a lot of people for a lot of different positions. Our department organizationally is growing. The flow chart is getting bigger. And he was a guy that I thought just had a really just deep knowledge, tremendous presence just as a wide receiver coach. A guy that I think he certainly had a positive impact where he was before. So we felt it was important to get him on board with us, hire him. And he's been great to be around. A lot of juice, a lot of energy. His role is different now. He can't be on the field coaching. But certainly in the staff room and some of the things he's brought to the table have been excellent. So.